Boys, starting it off hot. We are in the cereal tier list right now. Now, as you can probably see along the bottom of your screen, we got a lot of premium cereals that we all got to indulge in as kids, all right? We got a lot of heavy hitters, big name bullshit, all right? A lot of these are bullshit. A lot of these are not so great cereals, even though the marketing, the branding, they all did their thing. They look good. Now, I'm here to tell you that your cereals are ass, okay? So, starting off the tier list, we got Cookie Crisp. God, I'm already fucking losing my mind. Cookie Crisp starting it off. Brother, I'm not going to lie, man. I'm not going to lie. Those cookies were dog water, all right? Granted, if those things were ever Chips Ahoy, maybe they would have had a chance. But no, Cookie Crisp, dude. The cookies, like these were awful cookies. It was all a fucking scam. Yeah, no. I tell you what, the only good thing about the Cookie Crisp is the fact that the cookies didn't get like super soggy because they were literal bricks. They were literally bricks. They were awful. Now, so starting off, hopefully this isn't a hot take. Cookie Crisp is D tier. Cookie Crisp is D tier. The only reason why it's not in that F tier is just because it was edible. It was edible. It was never fun. It was edible. Oh, we're already starting off with the booze. This is going to be a good one today, boys. This is going to be a good one. Frankly, kick rock, sticky chocolate. Yeah, dude, Cookie Crisp, not going anywhere beyond D tier. And I'm locking that in. Trix cereal. Trix. We're talking about the bunny rabbit here. The dude that was always on your TV screen selling you his Trix cereal. Now, I don't know about you guys. I wasn't like a massive fan of Trix. Wasn't a massive fan of Trix. I didn't think it was really all that it lived up to be. I felt like they shoved it in your face way more than I would have liked it shoved in my mouth. Pause. That's that. Okay? Trix cereal to me, it's not going anywhere beyond that C tier. Frankly, the taste was never really there. It was much more spectacle because like it's got all the like the rainbow flavored, I guess cereal flakes and whatnot. It was not as good as it actually looked. Okay, let's be clear here. Let's be clear. Moving on to Captain Crunch. Brother, once again, man, who decided to come up with Captain Crunch? Dude, I don't know about you guys, man. I don't know about you guys, but Captain Crunch was never making its way into my cereal bowl. It was never making its way into my cereal bowl. I thought it was practically, like, I didn't like the taste one bit. It just didn't do it for me, man. It was very boring, too. Like, very boring. The most exciting thing about fucking Captain Crunch was the little, like, pirate guy on the actual box, okay? Captain Crunch, I'm sorry, bro. It's going, C or D. C or D. It's going D tier. It's going D tier. And frankly, if we disagree on that, then you might need to reevaluate your life choices. Frankly, I don't think your upbringing was good as a child, and you might need to go and talk to a licensed professional. Okay? Moving on. We have Reese's Puffs. Reese's Puffs. I'm not going to do it. All right. Reese's Puffs actually kind of fire. Kind of fire. Who doesn't like peanut butter and chocolate? Throw that into one in a puff orientation, a puff configuration. Brother. Goated. Really, really solid pick. Actually, you know, gonna walk that back a little bit. Not necessarily goated, but it was phenomenal. Reese's Puffs, A tier. A tier. All right. And you might be asking yourself, Max, how is Reese's Puffs A tier and not S tier? Well, I will answer that question. Okay, dude. Reese's Puffs is not S tier because Reese's Puffs, the minute that you left it in that bowl for a little bit too long with your milk, homie, it got so unbelievably soggy. It would lose its flavor. It would all get lost in the milk. All right, Sticky, that's already 2 boos out of you, bro. Somebody 10 minutes, all right? I don't want to see him for the rest of the tier list. Get him out of here. Okay. All right, it'd be your own mods. Okay? Chill out, pal. Chill out. I can take away that green sword as fast as I gave it to you, all right, dude? Moving on. A tier. A lot of that flavor would get lost the minute after this thing hit the milk. Okay? Reese's Puffs were like one of the most divine things that you ever tasted up until it got left in the bowl for slightly too long. Okay? And the real people out there, the real knowers know what I'm talking about. Okay? Leaving it at that. All right. Moving on. We got a fan favorite, frankly, a MaxGnarly favorite. We got Frosted motherfucking Flakes. Not going to take too long on this one. S tier. Tony the Tiger, get in here, dude. Get in here. Brother, Frosted Flakes made my morning for a majority of my childhood, all right? This was what I was going to school with day in and day out in like middle school time period, okay? And you gotta be real with me. Tony the Tiger held it down. He had me thinking that I could be the man, all right? When I was out there playing kickball, straight up missing the ball, Charlie Brown style, I still thought I could be the man just because of Tony the Tiger. He set me off on a good foot each and every morning, dude. Frosted Flakes taste phenomenal. Let's be real. The little coat of frosting, the little trickle of sugar over those wheat flakes, come on, man. Unbeatable. Unbeatable. The perfect amount of like minimal, but like just perfection, okay? Frosted Flakes, undeniably S tier. Leaving it at that, okay? We're done. We're done. Moving on to another spectacular favorite. We've got Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Now, frankly, if we differ on this one, I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust you clowns ever again in my goddamn life. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, what am I waiting for? What am I waiting for? S tier. Now, if this must be the most unanimous S tier that has ever existed in the entirety of cereal tier lists ever, okay? If there's one thing that we agree on, it's that Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the only cereal that does not get worse the longer you leave it in the milk, okay? And allow me to explain. You might be asking yourself, Max, it's like a flake, it's a cereal. How does it not get worse? It's gonna get soggy. Well, I'll tell you why. One, the cinnamon sugar coating staying on those little bits of the cereal, laying in that milk pool rather, it does not depreciate the taste in the slightest. And you want to know what, Mr. Ascension of Aries? You hit the nail on the head. It improves the milk. And not only does it do that, but all that cinnamon sugar, while still feeling like it's still on the cereal the whole way through, it all pools up at the very bottom of that cereal bowl, under the very bottom layer of the milk. And oh my God, is there a better way to finish a bowl of cereal than not taking that whole bitch and just downing a whole like pool of cinnamon sugar right like to top it all off? Like, dude, that was the best part of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, man. That cherry on the top was getting all that cinnamon sugar laying on the bottom of the bowl. Now, this might be kind of revealing as to what kind of child I was back in the day, my little fat ass. But boys, come on, you cannot deny that Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the peak of kids cereal. Okay, moving on, we got Wheaties. Now I'm gonna be real, man. I feel like Wheaties are kind of like an older person's thing. I don't really think I only had Wheaties on a fair few occasions, and that was just because they kind of had that like older, like they kind of had that iconicness about them. But every single time that I tried Wheaties, I was like, what is this about? What is this about? It's the first time that anything ever associated with Michael Jordan is going in an F tier. I'll tell you that much, man. Only time something with Michael Jordan is ever going in that F tier. But Wheaties needed to happen. It needed to happen. Wheaties is kind of like old gen dominated by new gen. We didn't realize how much better it could get after Wheaties. And then it did, and it showed just how shit Wheaties actually was. Okay, here we go, man. Here we go. We got Honey Nut Cheerios. Honey Nut Cheerios. So I'm going to be real with you, bro. I'm going to be real with you. As a child, Honey Nut Cheerios are like, they bored the shit out of me as a kid. And they got so unbelievably soggy just about instantly. And like, they never kind of like, they never tasted phenomenal to me. I thought they were like good, but not like great. I'll tell you what they're way better as is just being eaten straight out of the bag all by themselves. I'm not putting them in a bowl of milk. 100%. I'm not putting them in a bowl of milk, but I do think that they taste good. You know how many times I got sent to school with a bag, like a small little, like plastic bag of Honey Nut Cheerios just by himself? A lot. All right, Mama Gnarly was holding it down with the meals. We're gonna put Honey Nut Cheerios in that B tier, man. I felt like that's pretty solid given the circumstance. Not too great, not too bad. I think I feel like it slightly puts itself above where I'd put Trix. Honey Nut Cheerios are definitely solid. They're definitely, they're good enough. Booberry. I don't know, man. I feel like this is the kind of cereal that I never even knew existed until I'd go into the grocery store with my mom, and like the marketing would just get me. Like it's like a little ghost, a blueberry kind of vibe cereal. I think I got this once and I remember it being trash, kid. Trash. All right. Like I think it had a little bit to offer, more than Wheaties, but it like was just incredibly terrible in its ability to seal the deal. I was not a fan. Booberry goes D tier. I don't think anybody's complaining too much about that, right? Okay. Next, we got Special K. Special K is an interesting one. I feel like Special K is one of those very few cereals that is shooting for very little. The expectations are very, very low, and it does very, very low expectations very well, right? Like it's by no means a great cereal, but it does what it's trying to accomplish very well, right? Like it's an old person cereal. We're putting it C tier. I'm not spending too much time on that. We're done. Okay. It's kind of good for like what it shows right here in the picture, like throwing in like maybe a little yogurt and fruit. That's the only thing that's going to save Special K and make it a higher tier, in my opinion. Okay. Moving on, we got Honey Bunches of Oats. Honey Bunches of Oats, I feel like these are actually not that bad. I would put them up in that B tier over with Honey Nut Cheerios, not because they're honey, but just because they do have like a little bit of that sweet flavor. And they're really not shooting to be anything massive. I will say that I think this was a little bit better than Honey Nut Cheerios because they're not getting soggy off rip like Cheerios do. So I feel like it's got itself a good spot in that B tier. Frankly, if I could rank this these two between each other, I would put Honey Bunches of Oats above Honey Nut Cheerios, but I do feel like they're in that same category. Moving on, Fruity Pebbles. Fruity Pebbles, dog. So Fruity Pebbles, I feel like they kind of did the whole Trix thing a little bit better than Trix. If I'm being completely real with you, man, I feel like they're a little bit better than Trix. But like same sort of deal, man. Those little pebbles, they got so unbelievably soggy almost instantly. And I felt like they never had a ton of flavor to them. It wasn't a bad cereal, but it wasn't a good one either. I think they go B tier once again, just kind of like another mid-tier cereal that the marketing for it was way better than the actual taste. Milk made up for it. Hey, dude, I felt like they were tasteless in a way, man. Like Fruity Pebbles didn't really have a whole lot to them. They did not have a whole lot to them. Me personally, I wasn't a big fan. Was not a big fan. I am just now realizing that I do not have a vital piece of cereal on here. Hold on, wait. Give me 1 second, boys. Give me 1 second. Oh my God, how could I possibly have left this out? Boys, we're doing this one right now because I can't believe that I even let this by. We've got Fruit Loops cereal. I can't believe I let this through. That is actually a massive bummer, and I apologize to everybody who is probably sitting there looking at their screen thinking, where the fuck is Fruit Loops? Well, let's be clear. Fruit Loops are A tier, and I can't believe I did not even think about them prior to going into this list. Fruit Loops are solid, my man. Solid. I felt like Fruit Loops are one of the actual cereals that were able to outstand the milkiness, the sogginess that you get from the milk in the bowl while also maintaining peak flavor. Fruit Loops were the kind of cereal that if my mom threw them into a bowl without any milk, that's a snack right there. I love that shit. Fruit Loops A tier. Dunzo, okay? I don't care what you're saying, Sticky Chocolate. You can get the hell out of my fucking chat box. Whatever, dude. I don't like your opinion. First tier list here, Sticky, and you're talking a lot of shit, okay? Same with Apple Jacks. Tay, could not agree more. I felt like Apple Jacks were really, like, it was the same kind of deal as a Fruit Loop, like same kind of like configuration, same kind of texture. It was practically the same thing. Now, what I will say, Mr. Tay Dirty, Apple Jacks didn't carry the same flavor as Fruit Loops. Didn't carry the same flavor. Good flavor, but not the same flavor. So while I will be putting Apple Jacks in that A tier, I will be putting them in that A tier because these three, it definitely does not belong down here with the Honey Nut Cheerios, the Honey Bunches of Oats, and the Fruity Pebbles of the world. I will go on to say that Reese's Puffs and Fruit Loops find themselves to be at like that kind of like A+ territory. I'm putting Apple Jacks down in that A-, man. I think Apple Jacks does not live up to those other two. And we're leaving that there, man. Okay, next up, we've got Cocoa Puffs. Are you guys actually going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? I refuse to believe so. All right, that little no, that's not a toucan. Never mind. This little Roadrunner bird or whatever. I don't know. He was really selling this shit because not my favorite. Not my favorite. Now, I don't think it was as far as a D tier, nor do I think it's as high as a B tier personally. I kind of put Cocoa Puffs down there with that C tier. I think it did its job really mid, and it was the same sort of thing as the Tricks, man. Same sort of thing as the Tricks. I don't think it really did anything exceptional. Cocoa Puffs were not it. Let's be real. All right, reality check for you clowns out in chat. All right, now we have Raisin Bran. Raisin Bran. What are you guys' thoughts on Raisin Bran? Anybody? Any thinkers? Any big brainers out there? Any small brainers out there? Let's hear the takes. Shit. Wow, off to a hot start. F, B, psh, psh. All right. Well, you're all wrong. Raisin Bran S tier, dude. Raisin Bran S tier. Bring on the old man comments talking about my shirt and shit, my little quarter zip. Brother, Raisin Bran is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I don't care who you are. If you're shitting on Raisin Bran, it's because either A, you don't like raisins and you're a lower species, okay? Yeah, bring on the booze. Bring them on. I don't care what you say. I'm taking this with me to the grave. Raisin Bran is S tier. Nothing, Raisin Bran, the contrast you get from the milk and the wheat flakes, or the bran flakes rather, sorry, and the raisins. Mix that up into one. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. All right, Kenny. I knew you were full of bullshit, dog. I knew you were full of it. Raisin Bran just is owed what it's owed, okay? It belongs in this S tier. And it is so overly hated simply because it's got boring branding, dude. All right, I'm sorry that it's not up there with the Cocoa Puffs of the world, the Captain Crunch and the Tricks. But listen, I told you guys I was gonna break your nostalgia. I was gonna break your reality. And here we are today. I'm showing you that this old man cereal, Raisin Bran, is top tier. And I don't care what any of you guys say. We're moving on to the very final cereal in the tier list. We have Lucky Charms. Lucky motherfucking Charms. Dude, let's be real. Lucky Charms are kind of fucking awesome. They're kind of awesome. Every single time I was, given a Lucky Charms. Hold on. Quick intermission. Tay has to give us his opinion.
So y'all can eat honey bunches but not Raisin Bran GTFO.
Talk that shit, brother! Talk that shit. Oh my God, man. Tay, that's got to be the realest shit you've ever spoken into this chat box. Not to make it sound like you've had a lack of realness in this stream, but that is among the best of the best right there, bro. The best of the best. I appreciate the hell out of you, bro. All right. Moving on to Lucky Charms. Brother, let's be real, man. Let's be real. Lucky Charms were actually kind of the real deal. Every time my mom put this in my cereal bowl, I was digging to the bottom of it like I was actually going and looking for a real life pot of gold from a leprechaun, okay? This shit was incredible. And the branding, top tier. I was a big fan of this as a kid. And let's get to the real meat and potatoes of this. All right. Dare I say, the real marshmallows of this. Dude, the marshmallows were insane, bro. The marshmallows made this cereal. I think everybody can get behind that. Half the time I was getting this, if I didn't get this cereal in milk, maybe I got it as a snack in a plastic baggie, homie, I was picking out and separating the flakes or like the little cereal pieces and the marshmallows. And I would just take a big glob of marshmallows and I would be tossing that shit in. Pause. I was eating that shit up. All right, let's take that route of explaining. Okay. But dude, the marshmallows made this cereal elite. I don't think it takes a neurosurgeon to understand that, right? The only problem with Lucky Charms is that this shit disintegrated almost instantly, but it kind of made the milk taste better and everything like that. Kind of fucking fire. And so for that reason, man, I know we have some cereals in here in that B tier where like they got really soggy and shit like that and it ruined the cereal. Lucky Charms, man, the marshmallows in Lucky Charms were so phenomenal that it outweighs the B tier, right? It belongs in that A tier simply because like the marshmallows were just so good. So good. Overall top tier cereal, maybe not necessarily top tier, but rather A tier cereal. And to me, that is unarguable. Frankly, all this is unarguable. If you want to argue with me, kick rocks. And that is our cereal tier list of the day, or rather our tier list of the day being cereal. Big W's, man. Big W's, dude. Sticky, you watch your goddamn mouth right this instant, dude. How many? That's 3 boos minimum that you've dropped in over the course of my tier list. Frankly, I think you owe me an apology. You're ruining my production. Yeah. Okay. So appreciate you boys for being here. Thank you for sharing your opinions that I just gracefully did not acknowledge. Because they're all wrong, except for when you're agreeing with me. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth. Boys, I feel like this was a solid tier list. Thank you guys for being here. This was a fun time. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to you guys. That was fun. That was fun. Now let's go over the real meat of all this. Oh, dude.